Hello, welcome back to another episode from Pale Horse Survival and Tactical. I'm Bill, glad you could join me. In this episode we're working on a primitive shelter. Stay tuned. Well, I returned to the my new camping spot. Came up here prepared to make a snow shelter. Just going to make I brought my avalanche shovel on the pack. I'm going to make a simple trench shelter, and was surprised to see we had a couple heavy downpours of rain and has melted a bunch of snow. I'm about 1,000 foot lower in elevation than my usual base camp, but I won't be able to get into that one for a while, so this is going to be the new digs for a bit. But now that I can see the ground, there is a ton of resources here, way more than I originally thought. And I figured, well, I'm going to go ahead and switch gears. If I can't do a snow shelter, I'm going to go ahead and use this right here. Let's make a real simple little A-frame shelter, and if my schedule allows, I want to pull an overnighter up here. I think this would be a perfect spot right here. So I'm going to gather materials and just make a real simple, nothing permanent, just a little temporary little shelter here. And probably a fire pit right out here in front. But there is literally a ton of resources around here. I knew there was when I first arrived here, but now that I can see the ground, I mean, it's just everywhere. Just a crazy amount of resources. I actually like the spot. I probably won't be able to get into my base camp. That's 1,000 feet higher in elevation. It's about 6,000 foot. We're about 5 right here. And I did drive up that way. A lot of snow still, so it's going to be a couple of months, I'm thinking, before I can finally get in there. So, but I kind of like this new spot as well. There's a lot to be said about it. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and just start gathering some of this deadfall and cutting some of it. Just making a very simple, nothing elaborate, nothing fancy, little simple A-frame shelter out of this tree. It looks like it came over. It's a dead tree, cedar. I already snapped off the lower branches, limbed it, and so let's get started. Alright, I've only been working on this thing for probably 30-40 minutes. I'm just strolling around here picking up. I mean, there's deadfall everywhere. Literally, it's just, this is completely from deadfall, so I'm not going to get too crazy on this. It's just a little temporary little shelter. It's coming out pretty good though. Now we had some big storms that brought down a lot of branches. I've got a bunch of these fir boughs and cedar. There's quite a bit of it laying around. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start laying it at the bottom, stacking it up. If you were making this as a debris shelter in an emergency with the idea of staying warm, you'd want to make it smaller. So instead of being so tall, you'd want to have just enough room to shimmy inside prone. And that's with the idea of conserving your body heat. And then you'd want to pile debris, pine needles, leaves. And the general rule is you want to get them deep enough, built up from the outside, to where if you stick your arm all the way in, you're up to your armpit before you feel your understructure. And even thicker than that if you can. Something like that will shed the rain for the most part. These you would want to cut off just a little bit above the top of your main beam on the top. Because if these are sticking out over the top of your debris, I mean, if you can bury all this, that's fine, but water will hit this, the rainwater, and it'll travel down and it'll start leaking inside the shelter. So you want this, the top part, buried underneath your debris deeply. So it's best to kind of cut them a little bit over the top. Leave about 3 inches sticking up, 2 inches, and then just bury the entire thing so it's a nice neat structure and you don't have to worry about leaks. So this is just a little temporary thing, and if I have time I'm going to pull an overnighter up here. And it's pretty roomy inside. It'll sleep one very, very comfortably in here. I'll just use some of these fir boughs and kind of stack them up on the outside. And I'm not going to go crazy on this. It's going to be kind of a quick and easy little project here. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on that. Stay tuned. some more branches that you find. Just lay it right over the outside to help hold all of this in so the wind doesn't take it away. Here's another big branch that was brought down by the storms, a whole bunch of them over here. I drug it over here and I'm going to limb this. Well, there it is. Give you a walk around here. It's not too bad. Came out all right. It's a cool little temporary shelter. Take a peek inside here. I can plug that back in a little better. This is definitely not intended for bad weather. If it was, I would pile up a whole lot more debris than what is on here currently. This is just intended as a quick little shelter demonstration here. If you're going to use this to stay warm, you'd want it lower and smaller inside, and a lot more debris piled up, pine needles, leaves, whatever you could find. And as we discussed a little bit ago, you'd want it about an arm's length in thickness. And then you can plug the front up here with your backpack or more debris, whatever you have, to keep the weather out. So we'll see what happens. My schedule allows, I'll come up and pull an overnighter, but it is all dependent on the schedule and how I'm feeling. Right now I'm dealing with a flare-up of sciatica. It's been kicking my butt for several days. And probably noticed I'm moving a little stiff and a little slower than I normally do, and trying to keep my back straight. So getting older is it's no fun. Well, I hope all of you enjoyed this episode as much as I did making it. Please like, subscribe, and share. I hope all of you are having an outstanding day or night, depending on where you're located, and I will see all of you very soon on the next one. Everybody take care. Bye-bye.